So Austin Hooper just signed a 4-year, $44 million contract with the Cleveland Browns, and I like this move, to be honest. I think that it makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you're willing to give some of these receivers $20 million, I think giving a very good pass-catching tight end $11 million a year, it makes sense to me. I like it. I know a lot of people are going to talk about, well, why do they need Hooper when they already have Njoku? But I think that this is actually a very good thing. For one thing, it's worth mentioning that Stefanski, he actually runs a lot of two tight end sets. So now having two good tight ends who can, both catch the ball, I think makes a lot of sense. I also do think Hooper is an upgrade, but I do think that Hooper can add a lot to this Cleveland Browns team. And let's just jump into why I feel that way. He's just a great route runner more than anything. This plays a good example where it's going to be a cover 3 zone. And first things first, what Atlanta is going to do is have a receiver run that route right there. And the reason why this kind of route can be so good is that, it's cover 3. And so the corner who's in charge of covering the top half of the screen might come a little bit closer in. He's supposed to be covering deep, but he might come in to try to take away that route. And then Hooper, who's currently in the middle of the field, is going to run that route right there. It can just give him an extra step where potentially he can run by a defensive back. With a lot of guys, you can't do this, especially tight ends, because they can't outrun a defensive back. But watch, right when the ball is snapped, you notice that DB does, at the very beginning of this play, make sure that he's covering up a receiver before realizing that Austin Hooper right there is going to be the one who's running deep. Again, at this point, you'd see a lot of cornerbacks still be able to stay deep and make sure that they're able to cover up a tight end, Tight end versus cornerback, usually in a foot race, the cornerback is going to win. However, Hooper is fast enough, he's able to run and still get open, even cuts back to the middle of the field a little bit, which was smart, and just like that, they're able to gain a solid gain on that one, where again, a lot of tight ends would not be able to do that, and that's what Hooper is bringing to the table. He's just a great pass-catching tight end, great route runner for a tight end, and I think that's a huge reason why Cleveland wants to bring him on. He's not a bad blocker either. He can block fine, but definitely I think the reason why Cleveland is willing to go out and sign him is because just he's a really good pass catcher, he's a really good route runner, and he's seemingly gotten better year after year, He's gotten more yards every year he's been in the league. He's gotten as many or more touchdowns every year he's been in the league. Last year, he had 787 receiving yards and 6 touchdowns, which is definitely pretty good for a tight end. And with a team that already has Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr., this is turning into a lot of weapons for Baker Mayfield to try and throw to. And it's also these subtle things. I do feel like, in a weird sort of way, the fact that he was a third-round pick and the fact that he had to fight so hard just to get a starting job, let alone get a huge contract, it really has helped him improve a lot, and he does a lot of little things very well. Like on this play, it's going to be a cover 3 zone blitz that they're going up against, and that's Hooper's route. So, on paper, this looks like the kind of route that wouldn't really get open too much. He's running right into a zoning coverage. So on paper, it seems like it's not the best route. But as I alluded to earlier, it's the little things Hooper does that makes him a good player. It's not him making these, oh my goodness, how did you do that plays. It's very subtle things. So watch, right when this ball is snapped, notice how he does a great job at the beginning portion of this route, looking as though he's running just straight up. He doesn't already start to cut over the middle. He's running straight up. I mean, this is Julian Edelman-like in a sense, where it's so good at just that beginning portion of the route can often mean so much, and this is why people say route running is sometimes more important than speed or your ability to even catch the ball. Just being able to do this to get open will allow you to get way more yards than some other things, because now when he cuts, he's able to get so much separation. That's an easy throw for Matt Ryan to make, and they're able to get the first down just like that. And he just does those things pretty frequently that really do help out. They helped out Atlanta last year. They're going to help out Cleveland this year. And really, his beginning portion of his route, I've talked about it before. I'll talk about it again. That can be so important. If you don't give away what you're doing at the beginning of the route, it can allow you to really get open. Like on this play, it's now a cover 2 zone. Also, you do notice a lot of these are zone coverage. Hooper is just great against zone coverage, but anyways, the way this play is going to work is that they have a receiver running deep on the top half of the screen, And then for Hooper, he's going to run that route right there, so the idea behind this is that the receiver runs deep, pushes a safety deep, Hooper runs underneath, and basically what Hooper has to make sure he does is he just runs far enough out that he makes sure that no Jacksonville player sees what's going on and runs deep with him, and just, one of the guys who's supposed to cover the middle of the field realizes the play and runs deep. But after the ball is snapped, again, look at how good of a job he does here. At this point, it looks as though he's going to be running towards the bottom half of the screen so the other safety can run over and pick him up. And also with the play action, it helps bring other Jacksonville players in, and now Hooper is going to get wide open when he cuts up. It wasn't even a perfect throw from Ryan. It probably should have had a little bit more zip on it, if we're being honest, but at the same time, it didn't matter. Hooper was able to adjust to it as good as possible. And just like that, they were able to gain another big gain. There was a lot of things that worked well on that play. The receiver did a good job of pushing a safety deep. The play action worked that fooled Jacksonville. And Ryan, he still made a very good throw. But at the same time, that play doesn't work without Hooper being able to run his route well. And it also just goes to show the faith that Atlanta had in Austin Hooper last year, that they were literally willing to run plays through him. They were willing to have their entire team come around to try to make a play that's going to get the ball to Austin Hooper. It just kind of goes to show that he is a very talented player. This signing makes a lot of sense for the Cleveland Browns' perspective, in my opinion. One more play I wanted to talk about. This is one of my favorite plays that you'll see teams run, where they're going up against a cover 2 zone. They're going to have a receiver run that route right there. This is supposed to get a defensive back to move closer to the middle of the field, because then what they're going to do is have Austin Hooper run that route right there, and ideally, with the safety now moved out of the way, Hooper could get wide open. And in fact, it's going to work out very well. I mean, as you see, everything works out perfectly. Hooper is completely wide open. And not just that, but Matt Ryan has all day to make a throw. So, beautiful situation for Atlanta. However, Matt Ryan isn't going to make a perfect throw here, but watch how Hooper is able to adjust and still make this catch. I mean, you kind of would have liked Ryan to be able to throw it farther, which allowed Hooper to make the catch on the run, but, Hooper realized that the most important thing is to just make the catch in general, so he turns his shoulders, adjusts back, and makes the catch. And again, I've shown multiple plays where I've criticized Matt Ryan. On this video, Matt Ryan's great. Every quarterback misses throws, and neither of these were even terrible misses. But I'm just sort of bringing up sometimes that Hooper can come through even when it's not a perfect throw. I do think that he will fit well with Baker Mayfield. Mayfield is accurate, and he's not afraid to throw the ball deep. I think Hooper will be able to help him with that. And if you're looking at just the weapons that Cleveland has now, Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, now Austin Hooper, you also have Nick Chubb, you also have someone like David Njoku, who is still a very good player. He's inconsistent, but not the best blocker, but can definitely play. And also, oh my god, wow, the Texans are trading DeAndre Hopkins to Arizona. I just found that out while recording this video. So that's crazy. We'll definitely make a video on that too. I kind of lost my train of thought. I forgot what I was talking about. But yeah, I like this move from Cleveland's perspective. Sorry, that news rattled me for a second. I like this move from Cleveland's perspective. I definitely think that this will make sense. I think they could be very good next year. Again, we said the same thing last year, but you know what? You're getting a good player. I don't think $11 million is that much, especially with the higher salary cap this year. I like this move. I like this move a lot, actually, and I'm a little surprised he only went for the $44 million for 4 years. I thought he could have maybe had more. So, yeah, that's just my opinion. I'd like to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below. What do you think of the Austin Hooper move? Could this be what Cleveland needs? Could Cleveland really get over the hump next year? I certainly hope so. I mean, Cleveland has great fans. They deserve a playoff appearance every now and then. But yeah, that's just my opinion. And also, I just love stories like this. I just love when a third-round pick comes kind of out of nowhere, wasn't hugely talked about, and just works their way up to a big contract. I love when that kind of thing happens. I don't know. It just kind of makes me feel good. It's not the guy who maybe was just born the most naturally talented. He had to work very hard to get where he was at. Obviously, if you're in the NFL, you were born naturally talented, but he still clearly had to put in a ton of work to get this big contract. So congratulations in that aspect. Absolutely deserves it. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the Austin Hooper signing. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.